It's so nice to meet you, Marcus. I'm so glad that you're here on the Everything Saxophone podcast.
Thank you, Donna. It's nice to meet you too. Glad to be
Awesome.
here.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm glad that, we were able to meet each other. Now, I'm really curious. You have a very interesting history that I definitely want to dive into for sure. I wanted to first thank you for your service in the U.S. Navy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was awesome time.
Cool. I want us to talk about that a little bit, but before that, though, you were on track to go into pro football. Can you talk to us about that and what happened?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, every kid that watches football or plays it growing up has a dream. And so that was kind of one of my dreams. And playing football in high school, Pop Warner, I was an all-state wide receiver at DeSales High School in Louisville, Kentucky, where I grew up. And I don't know. I just, hey, I can do this thing. Everybody says that. But no, see, I was serious about it. And I did have some workouts with some teams. Unfortunately, that wasn't a path, I thought. And I did play some minor league ball, went to Canada, worked out with some teams, actually, Hamilton Tiger Cats. Short stint there, but then, I went to some workouts for like combines for the NFL as well. The Atlanta Falcons was one of the teams I had communicated with and worked with as far as pursuing my dreams. But there was just a lot of, I hate to say it, politics involved too. Because I definitely had the ability of just, it's a name thing or what school you go to, that type of stuff. So a lot of that goes on, believe it or not. But it was just, I did mess around with some arena ball here in Jacksonville, the Tomcats. So the structure different now than what it was. I think there were 2 arena leagues, and I worked out with the second Jacksonville team that we had here. But, and that was pretty much it. I had other desires and had to put football to bed. And so, I've always been involved with music, even as a kid. I just didn't know it would lead to this path where I'm at now. So, aside from my day job, music kind of start taking the spotlight, so to speak. And, it's been really good. It's really been taking off even after the pandemic. Right before the pandemic, it really started to take off. But then, everybody in the world was on pause with their lives, so to speak. But things are going well. Things are going well so far. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about my upcoming CD.
Yeah, no, oh, absolutely. We're going to definitely get there. I'm curious then, let's go back into, because you said that, music's always been a part of your life. When did you start playing music? And I'm asking it this way because often a lot of my guests don't start on saxophone, they start on something else. So when did you start getting involved with music, and which was your first instrument?
Well, yes. Originally, it was in the woodwind class. It was a flute. I was in a flute class. And so, I don't know, I was quiet and shy, and I really didn't want to play the flute. I don't even know how it came about. To be honest with you, I can't remember how in the world did I get involved with the flute. So anyway, back then I thought it was more of a feminine instrument. So I like the sound of it, but it's not something I really wanted to identify with. Because I really found out, I was watching a Miss America pageant, and one of the contestants was a saxophonist. And so being that music, like I said, was, a custom around the house, my mother played music on the record player, updated myself. And my dog in the background, I don't know if you can hear him, but so anyway, Grover Washington Jr. was, a popular favorite, as well as other artists. But being I liked his sound and I saw a Miss America pageant, That was it. The next flute class, I asked my instructor after everyone left because I was shy. And I couldn't remember the name of the instrument though. And he said, "Can you draw it for me on the chalkboard?"
Oh, wow.
Chalkboard.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm there.
I said, yeah. So I got a piece of chalk, drew it, and he said, "That's the alto. That's the alto saxophone." So I said, "That's it." And the rest is history. He moved me to another class for saxophone. I went home happy, told my mother, and she was happy. But then she said, "How much is that going to cost?" Back then, I mean, even now,
Oh, yeah.
the price is outrageous for most saxophones. But that was my journey. It started there. I played elementary, I played junior high, middle school, but then after middle school, I moved on to high school. But I played sports. The band thing was over. Um, I was older. I played football in Pop Warner, and then I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in the NFL, so I got to play high school." So I played. I went to DeSales High School, played football. Like I said, had some accolades and was pretty good. But music came back around after. Well, it came back around while I was serving in the Navy.
I was going to ask you that. Okay.
I got turned on by an older guy who was my shipmate in the Navy, stationed in Yokosuka, Japan. And I was stationed aboard a ship, but I was put on medical hold because I had an injury on my foot. And so the ship was about to deploy. The guy I met who turned me on to jazz was also on medical hold. He was on the same ship. So we ended up becoming roommates and on medical hold, but he turned me on to jazz. And he said, "You know anything about these guys?" I'm like, some of them, the Yellow Jackets, David Sanborn, Gerald Albright. I mean, it just goes on. So many people he introduced me to, Hiroshima, and of course I was in Japan. So it was just, I fell in love instantly, hearing the saxophone and the different sounds of jazz. And so that's where it actually really took root after I really got into, appreciating jazz and the saxophone even more. I was stationed in Japan for 3.5 years. From there, I went back, relocated to Florida in the United States, still serving in the Navy. I went from Japan to Pensacola, Florida, where the Corey Station Naval Base is. And I was there for 5 years actually. And when I got there, my twin brother, Mark Flick, who was in the Navy at the time, relocated from Jacksonville, where I live now, but he relocated to Pensacola in the Navy. And he drove home. I said, "When you go home, can you bring my saxophone back?"
Okay.
My saxophone from grade school, my mother still had it.
Good.
And so it's a Vito, and I still have it to this day.
Wow.
And I mess around with it, but I never use it for performances. It's still in great shape. But he brought it back, and then I started listening to jazz and didn't know I had a gift by playing by ear. And so, but because I was taught, I read sheet music growing up in school. So I started listening to jazz and trying to figure out if I could play it again. Oh, it was like, wasn't sounding good. But, I had to learn somewhere, I had to start over. So I started learning, and I was picking up on songs pretty fast. In a couple of weeks' time, I would learn a song. And I started getting invited to play at different functions. Of course, I played for free because I didn't know anything about making money playing the instrument. But it was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And so from there, I just kept playing, and then over time, after I relocated from Pensacola, I moved to Jacksonville. uh, after 5.5 years stationed in Pensacola. And well, before I got to Jacksonville, I went to Cuba for a short stint in the Navy. And then I got here and I was I was in church and someone found out I played saxophone and put me on the spot. And so I ended up playing in church for a number of years, but I still wasn't, I wasn't really serious about playing professionally. Didn't even think about it until someone said, "Hey, you ever thought about, you know, taking this to another level?" Actually, it was a lady when I used to take my saxophone to get maintenance on it at Warehouse of Music, which is closed now because she passed away and her son, who was also running it, passed away. So I don't think they have it anymore. But she encouraged me and asked me if I ever thought about playing in church. And I said no. But then I told someone in church, and they told the pastor, and the pastor called me and that's put me on the spot. I went to choir rehearsal, did not take my saxophone. They asked, how far do you live? I said, 5 minutes, go get it. So I went to get my horn, and that's how I got back to playing in front of people. Back in church, I just did my best. And so then other people were encouraged. I was put on spot to do solo, so that helped, to really step out and to do better and to grow. So what I did was, and I also attended jazz concerts to learn from other saxophonists by studying them during their performances. And so this is how I took it to another level as far as being trying to get to another level. Basically, went to a concert. It was Nelson Rangell at Jacksonville Beach. And I waited to meet him after his performance. And he gave me some advice, asked him some questions. And he said, well, hire the best saxophonist at your local university and pay them, if you're really serious about it. So I called the Dean of Music, and he gave me a guy's name, Joe Yorio, or Joseph Yorio. I call him Joe. And he became my instructor for a year and a half. And I paid him for, I would either go to one of the college campuses where he was teaching, or he would come to my house. And we did that for maybe an hour and a half every weekend for over a year and a half. And he took me beyond the basics and start teaching me different things, like different types of scales and patterns and, all types of stuff, improvisation, and so I had to still study on my own. I had to put the time in, and I wasn't really putting enough time in, but eventually I did because I didn't feel like I was getting where I wanted to be. And so that took place. And then I met a gentleman named Mel Holder, who to this day is still my mentor. Actually, we just finished a song that's going to be on my upcoming CD. And I never thought that would happen. And it did, because he felt I was ready. And, it's just amazing how things have transpired. And since then, I've performed, so many different places, and jazz festivals, private events, weddings. I do all type of things, schedule permitting, of course. So I'm just thankful for the gift and to continue to be resilient and continue to learn, because if guys don't feel like they need to learn anymore, then that's exactly where you're going to stay. I want to be the best at what I do. And I take that mentality with even on any other goal or job, so hopefully you can tell when my CD comes out. That's all I'm going to say about it.
All right. Awesome. This is so great. I want to unpack a couple of things here. So you had said that one of the, to take it to another level, one of the things that you did, you go to shows and you would, you see other saxophone players and you would study them. How did you study them? What were you looking for? What were you looking at? And this question is basically for the listeners that, that do play by ear, or more importantly, maybe self-taught and stuff like that. So how did you study them at concerts?
Well, excuse me, sinuses. Well, I studied their musicianship. I studied the licks, the transitions, everything. Just really listen intently, of the details and the breathing. I mean, you name it. Everything that I couldn't do, I wanted to learn how to do or understand why they blew something a certain way. The stage presence. When I was taught about or told about how my stage presence makes a difference, how I command the instrument. Those kind of things speak volumes, and it doesn't. I guess you won't know until you actually been a musician and and people are looking at you, hundreds, maybe thousands. So you gotta, if you're not playing with confidence, everybody's gonna feel it, everybody's gonna see it. So these guys or ladies that I saw playing saxophone on stage, they really took command, and people knew who was in charge. So I wanted to be like that, and I still feel I'm a work in progress, but I'm a whole lot further down the road than where I was, and I don't take that lightly. People hear you and they say, "Oh man, it sounds great." They don't know the time it takes behind the scenes to really get where you are, and so that's what really happened with me. And so just studying them and everything, their presence, and I asked, like I said, I watched Nelson Rangell as one example, and ask him questions. What do you study? What do you practice? Pentatonic scale, arpeggios, triads. There's so many different things. Major, minor scales, all of them. Just saxophone stuff.
Yeah. What was one thing that stood out that he said to you? One tip that stood out that you remember?
One thing he said that stood out to me was take it serious. Take it serious, get the best. Because obviously if you're gonna sound like the best, you gotta work with the best, and it's all about your environment. And so I wanted somebody to challenge me. Let them challenge you, that type of thing. Write out things musically, so you understand it. Some of those things. So we definitely dealt with, even though I played by ear, it still goes back to the basics, of understanding music, understanding tone, understanding tempo, understanding, a lot of different things, but those are some of the things that really stood out that Nelson shared, and then there's been other guys, not just Nelson. There's been Najee. I'm not sure you're familiar with Najee.
Oh, yeah.
The more you play, the better you get. Stay busy. He gave me a tip. Another guy, probably around my age. Sorry, Mike Phillips. He, I've asked him. I said, "Well, what are you practicing?" Everything. Get your hands on something, learn it, try to master it. And then of course Mel Holder. If he hears something, like he'll share with me. Matter of fact, Mel Holder is a Grammy nominee, Dove Award, what's the other one? Stellar Award finalist and awardee. I mean, he told me when we were working on this particular song, uh, which is a Stevie Wonder song,
Mm.
and it's my cover of the album Brand New Day. It's Higher Ground, so it's our rendition, or I would say my rendition, but his help behind the scenes, and he's actually playing on it. Actually, some of the horns in the background. So that was fun. That was fun. But it's been a lot of great musicians to kind of give me advice. Believe it or not, Sheila, he gave me some advice. And years ago, um, she said, well, it was about how to get to play going on tour. And she's just, if you hear of any cattle calls, they call it, or any, musicians or artists looking for a saxophonist or what have you, take advantage of it. It's not always how good you are. It's who you know, number one, in some of this business. But you still got to be able to sound good. You can't just show up and sound like you are in beginning saxophone 101 class, because believe it or not, I laugh about that now. Mel Holder, my mentor I was telling you about, he told me that's how I sounded one time. This was years ago when we started working together. And no offense to saxophonists in bars, but he's like, you sound like a guy in the bar. I was like, that touched me. I didn't like that, actually. I thought I sounded pretty good, but when I look back, I was like, okay, yeah, I see what he's talking about. Okay. So that touched me and it motivated me, inspired me. And there were many days I was in my studio just practicing, not recording, just practicing. And I'd literally want to just throw my saxophone away. But because, I'm trying to break through certain things, and a lot of it's mental, when you're playing and I want to hit this altissimo, I want to hit this note a whole lot better. Oh, it didn't come out right. Or, sometimes it's mechanical, it's the horn, but most time it's what they call it, the user. But, so there's been things like that that's been motivating me over the years, and people. And so that's good. I mean, you have people put in your path for a reason. And I believe that. And I've taken it to heart, and I think it's helped me to get where I'm at. But it's not over yet.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I love that outlook. And, all those people that you reached out to, you got tips from them and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. Now, I'm curious, so you're practicing, you're bringing it to the next level. What was the transition for you to put out your own music? What did you do? Did you, writing music and all that kind of stuff, or did other people write for you and you played it? Like, how did that work for you?
Well, when I first started, I mean, I didn't know anything about, I didn't know a lot about music, to be honest. All I was focused on is the saxophone, trying to get better at the saxophone. The structure of a song, I believe it or not, I didn't really focus on that too much. I didn't have a lot of knowledge of it. It sounds weird, but it's true.
I get you. Totally.
Yeah, so when I initially started, I was like clueless. And I just kind of went with what people said would sound good. And, this is the way we should do it. But then after a while, when I learned and then I got feedback from things I recorded early on in my career, like, okay, put it to bed. That's in the past. So now, in between my actual first CD that's called Moving, there was more really amateur stuff. But now, compared to my actual first real CD, I would say, coming out, it's long overdue. But, I haven't been doing music all my life. So, I'm a father with two sons. One's a freshman in college, and the other one's going to be a freshman in high school next year. So I've been busy with them, but not only that, I had day jobs, to, keep me busy over the years in between. But in the years in between, I have sacrificed when they were young, and wasn't really on the music scene too much. Uh, I focused on my family first, and then as time would permit, I would practice. Then I would get little shows here and there, um, or I would sit in with bands and play. I played with a local band for every week for a whole year on at least 2 gigs one time, and I was only making tips.
Oh man.
They would share tips with me. I was like, I didn't care. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to play. I wanted the exposure. So that's how I am as a person. Not now. I don't just play for tips, of course, but in that process, in that refining fire, in that process, I was playing for tips. Unless I had a solo gig, then I would get paid myself. I might do a fashion show, I might do a wedding, some stuff like that. Then I'll get paid. But now, with the training and getting back into the scope of really learning saxophone all over again and going to another level at a professional level, the performances really started to take off when I dedicated more time. I met people in the industry, did research like crazy. I even helped other people with other things in the music industry, and things just kind of started coming back to me. It's almost like you're sowing and you're reaping. It's coming back to you. So over time, I would say before the pandemic, I say in 2016, things really start taking off even more. But how I knew I was on the right path was the people I was meeting along the way. I met the Jacksons, some of the Jacksons family. I'm saying Jacksons all over the world. The famous family, like Michael Jackson and his family. I met his oldest of all the siblings, Rebe Jackson. So her family, and in Las Vegas some years ago, and even stayed in a penthouse up there with them, and they took care of it. And so that was just behind the scenes, kind of soaking it all in. Through a friend, I met them, and I even took my saxophone on the trip, but I didn't get to play it. I did play a little solo in her penthouse room amongst her family and friends, so that was cool. I'll never forget that. And so I met other people, and then I was like, time went by, I started meeting all these people, and behind the scenes training, going to school for it, and now this product that I'm putting out, I think is a combination of all of that. And so I named it Brand New Day, and so that's one of the singles as well. And so that's where we are to this day.
And you know what? That's such a great, first of all, it's a great song, and I listened to it. Actually, it's awesome. I love it. But it's also a great title because, your journey, right? Which you're so, you're getting deep into with us, and you're telling us all about it, and your ups, your downs, and all this kind of stuff. And you're being so honest about it. I think it's awesome. And now I'm going to say it, even post pandemic, brand new day, right? So new things are happening. And let's talk about this. So, Mel Holder is on this album with you. I'm just curious though about the writing style and stuff like that. How do you approach, your two?
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. Yes, the writing. Some songs I collaborate with, all the producers, and they all play a certain part. Every song will vary. Sometimes I'll ask a producer, can you write something for me, or an artist? They may start something, maybe it's a melody or a chorus, and okay. I'll take my saxophone and I'll play with it. And we'll say, I like it, or I'm not feeling it. And I did that to one of my songs that's on the album. I wasn't feeling it when we were kind of collaborating. I'm like, And the producer said, just be patient. Let's take it for a couple of days and see what you think. And it stuck. And that particular song is Together We Stand, actually.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay.
yeah.
I heard that
And
one too.
so anyway, just for an example, now some of the songs I will write myself from scratch, like uh let's say let me give you a song. Well, you haven't heard it yet, but it's I'll say one of the songs. It's that's gonna be on it. I was provided a background. Just put it that way. I was given some layers and transitions of a song, and so I just took those transitions and start playing some things that came to mind. And I said, I like this. And then I just started recording it and then built the song behind it. And some things that's one way of, writing it, just already having something in the background and then you build around that, or you may have a melody and then build around that, So there's a couple of different ways of doing it, or you may have someone write it for you and maybe you tweak some things up. The saxophone is really versatile in terms of being able to bend sounds and really embellish some things, or creating riffs and all type of, different unique tools that the saxophone provides um, in different keys and such. So there's some of those are typically the ways I go about, collaborating with someone or writing them myself. So you're gonna see on this album that I did write uh, maybe half the song. Maybe I did the melody and the chorus, and maybe the other person did the verse. You know, uh, and we work together. As long as we're in agreement, then we build a song around it. Or I may have just a bridge. I did recreated a bridge for a song. Actually, I was given a song that a producer started, and uh, I liked the arrangement, but I didn't really like the. It didn't really have the structure. It didn't really have like the sound, but it didn't really have the structure. It didn't have a bridge. It didn't have maybe it had one verse, but it was awfully constructed in a way where I couldn't use it as a song. So I kind of reconstructed it uh, and made it a song, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So um, now coming from, I guess, because I've been in, I guess working with some highly trained or professionals in the music industry, um, I've learned my ears have really picked up of hearing certain things. And so that's why I would say is that particular song wasn't constructed in a way where I could really use it, because I not only I solicit feedback, with my mentors or producers, or what do you think it is? Well, you could do this better, or you could do that better, or well, let's try this, those type of things. So that's pretty much how it works. I would say most musicians, uh, how they collaborate, or even singers.
Now, I'm curious about this. So, like, when you're collaborating and stuff, maybe you get the groove, the background and stuff. Are they giving you chord sheets, or you're just using? Is it all by ear? How is that working?
Uh, well, most of it is I'm provided the groove, um, or well, I always ask them, well, if you created a song, what key are you in? Or I'll give them a key. I like this key. Can you create something in this key?
Got it.
And then I'll listen to it, play with it, and I might hear it, and I can do a lot of things with it. Or if it's a key I'm not really, I would say, fluent in, like maybe some other key, I'm like, yeah, I just have to get better. you know, always willing to get better, always willing to be teachable, is the key to success. So there's different ways. I mean, there's no set way of doing things, you know. I mean, you have a process, but most of the time, I either if I don't feel like thinking of a song or writing, let me hear what you come up with,
Mm.
and we'll take it from there. Um, or if I have something that's I'm itching to get out or try, and something keeps coming to me, then I will blow it. I'll record it and see what I can do with it. And then I might send it off to a producer. Hey, what do you think it is? And they may, oh, I like that, and we can build around it. So, or a producer may create a snippet of an idea, and I hear it, and I'm like, okay, well, let's run with this, see
Mm.
where it takes us. So it's all kind of different brainstorming ideas and you know ways of doing it.
Yeah, do you find I know for me like certain keys to me sound certain ways and you get certain like feelings from certain keys compared to others. I don't know if that you feel that too or whatever, but and it's not a question of whether I'm fluent in it or not. It's just that certain keys will feel brighter and certain keys, I think more of a different type of groove or whatever for them. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making
Well,
sense.
I believe that's true. I mean, there's definitely a different feel, in a sound. Because if I hear a key, I'm like, I don't know about that one. It sounds kind of weird, or I just don't. This particular key, I won't name artists, but so certain saxophonists that, I mean, he has his own style, but it's like, it sounds good, but teach his own, but I mean, I have my keys that I like. I mean, I say one D minor, um, uh, F, C. I mean, there's a few, uh, but yeah, there's some keys that I'm not probably as crazy about as others.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into this new album, Brand New Day. So, how long, how long were you how long did it take to, get it to fruition? When were you starting to think of the first songs? Talk to us about that.
Well, gosh, I would say this CD really started probably in 2014,
Wow, okay.
but it was it was a gap in in time. Uh, but I would probably say 2014, 2018 picked back up, and I think ever since then I really hit the ground running, really aggressively during the pandemic.
Okay.
Um, so I'm gonna say 2019 up to now, it really just mainly all the songs were either halfway there or I'd say about 2020 things were really rolling. You know, I mean, and but then you get work with certain artists and it takes longer because their schedules, your schedule, um, trying to perfect certain things in a song. Um, it's just a lot that goes on behind the scenes. But I would say 2014. The reason why I say that is because I started working with artist Bob Baldwin on a song, and um, and that song is gonna finally be on my album. And so that, and then I work with Brand New Day. I work with Jonathan Fritzen on that. Um, that's going to be on the single or the CD. Then I started working with William Green. Um, we have 3 songs on the album. uh, that we work together on. I mentioned Mel Holder. We have the song Higher Ground. Uh, I have multi Grammy winner or nominee and winner Roger Ryan. Um, I was just in Nashville where he's at about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We recorded a song. I heard it yesterday. So it just got mixed. I'm excited about that one. And I'll work with who else? Um, Maduka Kawahara. I probably butchered her last name. I'm sorry, Maduka. But we were collaborated on a song that's gonna be on there. She is a jazz pianist and did a fantastic job. Uh, so that song is also going to be on there. I'm excited to see how these do. Um, so you know, I guess that's all I can say about it right now. But that's the host of artists, producers, and musicians alike who work with me, provide guidance, direction, help, um, mentorship, you name it. So I'm excited about it.
Are you are there any singles out right now?
Yes, 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 yes. The one I mentioned, Jonathan Fritzen, Brand New Day is out already. Um, and Together We Stand.
Yeah, because I heard those. Those were really good. Those were really
Yeah,
good.
thank you. So I don't want to give away too much, but yes, those are out. You can check them out, and we look forward to your feedback, and hopefully everyone else will feel as good about it as I do.
I'm sure they will. And yeah, the reason why I asked was because, a lot of the thing, not, I don't want to call it a trend, but now what artists are doing is they're putting out a single at a time, giving the audience time to internalize it, then another single and then another single. But your album is dropping soon, right?
Right, right. March 31st. The previous date was February 17th, which is in a week from today, but due to some technical items, making sure the mixes and the mastering is perfect. We pushed it out another month, so um, I will advertise that actually soon, probably either today or this weekend. So we just don't want to rush it, and it's been a time coming, so definitely want it to sound great. I don't want to miss anything. So smooth jazz recommend, hey, you put that off. Artists change the dates all the time. So that's okay, fine. I don't feel bad. I just hate advertising a date and having to change it, but it is what it is. Uh, so people were excited, anxious. Um, so March 31st
Cool.
is the release date. It will go for radio ads, I believe, April 3rd that week. So all that'll be advertised, but that's where we stand. But I think Smooth Jazz is going to have a campaign that starts before the release date. I
Smooth
don't
jazz.
actually have that date yet. A promotion on their website. They'll have a page, a bio, pictures of me and everything. They'll send out email blasts to their radio stations, um, and so who spin the music. And so they'll start that campaign for 90 days. And then I would say after the first month, then the CD is added to radio stations um, or go for ads. So we're hoping for 100% Billboard ads. Well, I mean, Billboard station ads within the first week or first month or so. That is because we want to get charted. And, the more you have, you'll move up in the charting, and it's promising for your song. Uh, I've learned that already. So you've got to get music out there. You've got to, like I said, build up your fan base. Your support is huge. So uh, that's where we stand.
This is great insight for those people that the listeners that whether they're putting a CD out or not, but it's good for people to hear about the background and all the stuff that goes on. It's not just, oh, we'll just record it and yeah, we'll mix it, master, and that's it. No, we'll put it out. No, there's a lot of things additional that you have to deal with.
Most definitely, most definitely. And if you're trying to be heard mainstream, yeah, you definitely got to put the work in, do the research, because I don't want, well, I didn't know until now, but I don't want to just release music and don't have a marketing campaign. Who do you think gonna hear it? It's almost like, well, I just put it out for fun. But this is not a hobby for me now. It's a difference. It's a job or it's a hobby. So it's not a hobby. I love it. It's also, I would say, I used to just play my saxophone just for peace and stress reliever, but it's it's got to be a way of life. It's got to be your lifestyle if you're gonna kind of take yourself to another level. No matter what instrument you play, or even if you're a vocalist, it's got to be a lifestyle change. In order to get noticed, if that's what your goal is, or to get your music around the world. It's you got to have a lifestyle change, and you got to dedicate yourself to the craft. If you don't dedicate yourself to the craft, it's going to show. And we all make flaws. We have mistakes. You might hear some in a live performance, obviously, but even on a CD, you may hear something. But for the most part, you're going to hear someone who is serious about what they do, someone who really cares about sharing their gift. They enjoy making the music. People tell me, and it's not being boastful, it's just I never felt this way until later in life. Now, when you play, Marcus, it sounds like you really are passionate of what you're doing. Because you can just blow a horn, but not have passion behind it.
Yeah.
And that's anything. If you have passion, it's going to show and it's going to come out of you. So one of the songs, it's funny, kind of segues into one of the name of the songs is On the Inside. And that's the name of the song that me and Roger Ryan collaborated on in Nashville. So we just came up with this song. So trust me, we did that song in a day and it all came out of me. Oh my gosh, that was some work, but it was fun. It was fun. It sounds great. But it's a journey. All of it's a journey. So hope everybody likes it. But I already have music I'll have for my next project. So, but that's another story.
All right. Well,
for now.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that's another story. But for now, this project, I'm happy about it, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, now where will people be able to listen to it? That's really important.
Yeah, I'm going to work on a link that I'm going to post in my bio soon in the near future, where you can actually pre-order or listen to it, stream it, like Spotify, what's the other one? Apple Music, Amazon, Deezer.
Okay, so it's
all the major
streaming platforms.
Streaming platforms, and then some. There's so many of them now that I can't even tell you
Mm.
how many, hundreds. But it'll be on all the major platforms and then some. But you can go to those places. You can go to my website, marcusclick.com, for direction. I will have links to the major platforms like I do on all my singles. I have a link that you can click on. If one of them is your favorite, you can click on it and you can listen to it or you can download it. I make sure everybody can access it no matter what tool you use. My distribution will cover everywhere pretty much. My music currently that's out is playing globally, in the UK on their stations. I even got contacts from the Philippines, you name it, Japan. So I hope to visit some of those places in the near future and perform live.
Okay, that is
Actually,
good.
Japan would be great because I I lived there for 3.5 years
I
before
was
I
just
came
gonna say
back.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that would be great. They love jazz and I've kind of reached out to some people, but let's wait till the CD drops and see what they have to say, and then we'll uh, fill up the calendar.
Yeah, I was gonna say this would be full circle, right? You know, you're in Japan, but also even more full circle if your friends from the Navy are attending your shows, you know?
Right. So um, actually, it's funny you say that. I was in Vegas performing last December at Maxon's Jazz Club, and one of my buddies, I didn't know it was there, from the Navy. And he used to live in Jacksonville. He lives in Atlanta now. So I texted him on the way. I'm on my way to Vegas. He calls me. He said, "What you going to Vegas for?" I said, "I got a show, remember?" He said, "I'm in Vegas now.
Oh,
I've been here since Wednesday or whatever it was." And I flew out there Friday because my show was Saturday night. And it was perfect timing because friends say they come out, they're going to come out and see you. Most of the time, you never see them or they don't show up for whatever reason. Some do, very few, but I don't worry about that now because your friends are not really who are getting you where you need to be. It's your support.
yeah.
If they're your support, great, but you can't count on friends or people put it that way. So he was in Vegas, and it was perfect because he was my chauffeur to and from the airport.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pick me up. Didn't have to Uber and all that craziness, but it was fun, and that was fun. And he was actually that was his first concert because when I performed in Georgia, he's always had to work or had something going on. And it's funny, he saw me in Vegas,
That's cool.
and yeah, so I have some dates that I'm going to release my schedule soon. I have not released it yet because I've been focusing on the album, but I do have some. I'll just say that I have some West Coast areas, venues, and as well as East Coast. Uh, so I won't name the venues yet, but I'll say Baltimore is a good positive location. Back to Vegas is another one, and California as well. So
Cool. This is good. And
mhm.
yeah, you know, it's funny. You're everything you're saying, you're reading my mind. I was going to ask you this question, that question. This is awesome. I was going to say, are you touring? So we're going to go, people are going to go to your website, marcusclick.com. That's where you're going to release the tour dates. You mentioned Smooth Jazz before. So what's the website? Because they're going to be promoting you as well.
Oh yes, smoothjazz.com.
Got it.
Uh,
Okay.
smoothjazz.com. Sandy Shore, she's the founder, uh, CEO. She heads up that site, and I mean that site it's big on. I mean, you can find out anything about smooth jazz. They have their listening loft. They have their chart for top 100. Actually, some of my songs have made the top 100 from on Smooth Jazz, and smoothjazznetwork.com is another good one. And this Billboard for Smooth Jazz is the major um, charting site. But the sites is smoothjazz.com. They're promoting me um, on this album, so I'm excited to see what they can do for me. Um, and we'll, take it from there.
No, that's
Maybe it'll be a
awesome.
long lasting relationship. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And that's cool that, like I was going to ask you, will you be touring? So you probably give it
So
what like a month or so when the album's out, or how is that
yes,
like?
I should have something released soon, probably next month. When I have some more dates solidified, I will release it. And I'm always getting dates, even though that will become public. I will always continue to get more dates. Because some people move faster than others, and just logistics and timing and such. So,
Cool.
yeah,
Now this project. You had hinted before that you already have ideas for your next project.
yeah, I do. I do have some other songs I've been working on, but I had to put those on hold. But I'm just kind of breathing, taking a breath in between because we put a lot of work into getting this one done. So once that is out and has some traction, I'll start working on the other new material and keep it moving. So uh, I just, I want to be able to put out something every year, every other year to keep everything flowing and, a new product so people can like really start to enjoy my music and have a buzz that's gonna last for a long time.
Yeah, the buzz and building up the fan base for sure.
Exactly.
Another question I have for you too, because I'm sure people are curious. Your main instrument is alto sax, but do you play others on the album or when you're touring?
I do. I play the soprano. So I have a soprano in one of the songs, and you'll be able to hear it. And people that've heard it liked it, and so yeah, you should do that more with it. With your songs.
Got it. And alto, and people are going to ask, okay, yeah, you had that Vito saxophone. What are you playing on now? People are going to want to know.
Yes, I play a uh, chateau music. They're actually based in Taiwan. The founder of Chateau, um, he used to build saxophones for Selmer. Um, I can't remember the model he was part of, but he started his own. He also used to build the LA saxophones.
Yes.
And when LA sax was around, and actually I used to play at LA sax, and I didn't know this until I met him. Jerry Cheng is his name. Um, and so he's in Taiwan. I met him in Nashville in 2019. I met him at the Summer NAMM Festival in Nashville, and that's when they offered me the endorsement to play their instruments. And so that was awesome. And I still have a relationship with them. I'm still playing the Chateau. It's a lacquer 80/20, meaning 80% of it is copper. It's heavy, but not too overbearing. A beautiful sound. I mean, but I'm also endorsed by Barry Woodwinds on my mouthpiece. I use I play the Raptor. Uh, has like a raptor, the dinosaur raptor. That's the name it comes from. But
Okay.
so that's what I use, and I use the Van Duren reeds, uh, typically the Java or the Jazz reeds and threes or three and a halves.
Got it. Okay, the Java or the jazz ones.
Mhm.
NAMM this year. So I did interview one of the reps, Robert from Chateau, and they
Oh,
had on display. So we have that interview up on the Saxophone Podcast website. It's also on our YouTube channel. But they had the most beautiful tenors and altos. They had like one was like this beautiful artwork of the Statue of Liberty. It was
mm-hmm.
incredible, and the other one was like a pirate ship. And I'm walking down, like walking down the aisle for NAMM, before everybody, saw it the following day, and just for trying to find the Leger booth because they were sponsoring the podcast. And I stopped. I'm like, what? And they really were a showstopper. I mean, those horns are beautiful, and a lot of my friends out here who are pros who play in studios play on the Chateau horns. They're really good horns.
Yes, yes. And actually I attend some of the shows on the East Coast representing Chateau. I have for the past 3 years, and it's been fun. So
That's cool.
people, you got to get your Chateau saxophone. Look me up. I can help you. Actually, I have some horns that they ship me. I have a tenor and some altos, and they even have trumpets and flutes.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so they have more than just saxophone is their major hub, but their main instrument. But so they're solid horns, and um, I've enjoyed it, and so I'll keep playing as long as. Actually, you know what? They created the Kenny G's
Right. That's right.
soprano,
Yep.
the Kenny G, and it's from Chateau, and he's not endorsed by them. He just likes the horn, and so Jerry showed me pictures, and they took him on a tour of their plant in Taiwan, and he did a show, and so that was impressive. And I said, well, maybe one day I'll get a horn with my name on it, and you let me do a show.
There you
He
go.
laughed. I need to get my sales up.
Well, you keep doing what you're doing and it's going to happen for sure. Listen, I know you're on a tight schedule, so I wanted to thank you for your time. It was so great meeting you, and I wish you all the success in this for this new album, Brand New Day, that's coming out. The release date right now is March 31st, but everybody
Yeah.
check out his site, marcusclick.com.
Yes, and also it's been a pleasure, Donna, to meet you, and I've enjoyed myself. And let's stay in touch. Also, people can follow me and connect on my Instagram page, official Marcus Click, and I have two Facebook pages, Marcus Click or official Marcus Click, because one of them's more personal, but I always talk about music. And I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
You can look up Marcus Click on YouTube, Jazz, and you should be able to find my page. So I like to get my subscribers up. They've been picking up here lately. Okay, good. So marcusclick.com. Shoot me an email, or hey, if you need somebody to perform that's great, that doesn't break the bank like Kenny G yet, give me a call.
There you go. That's awesome. That's cool. And yeah, you know what, folks, as you always know, on our saxophonepodcast.com site, whenever we have the episode, we always have people's links. So we'll definitely put your links up there for sure, especially
Awesome.
the website and all that kind of thing. Thank you so much, Marcus. This has been really cool.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks again, Donna. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.